Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we're doing a deep dive into something that I know keeps a lot of you up at night,
Yeah, no kidding.
cybersecurity budgets, specifically for SMBs.
Right. I mean, you see those headlines about massive data breaches, and it's scary.
Makes you wonder how much it would cost to really lock things down,
And if it's even possible without, breaking the bank.
which is why we're here.
Yeah.
To unpack how to build a cybersecurity budget that's, effective and affordable.
Exactly. And we've got a ton of great insights from experts who work with SMBs every day.
First things first, though, just how big of a deal is cybersecurity for small and mid-sized businesses?
I mean, it's huge. One stat that really jumped out at us is that almost half of all cyber attacks, they're aimed right at SMBs.
Seriously?
Yeah. Cyber criminals, they often see smaller companies as softer targets.
Right. Maybe they think you don't have the same level of security as a big corporation.
Exactly. They figure, hey, easier pickings.
Right.
But that doesn't mean you have to be an easy target, right?
Absolutely not. So let's talk strategy. What's the first step to building a cybersecurity budget that actually works, like one that actually protects you?
One expert we looked at, she works with hundreds of SMBs, and she's all about this three-step approach.
Okay, I'm listening. 3 steps.
First one is a risk assessment.
Got to do a thorough one.
Risk assessment, so kind of like a checkup.
Yeah. For your business.
Yeah.
You figure out where your valuable assets are, where you might be vulnerable.
That makes sense, knowing your weaknesses.
Exactly. It's like you wouldn't build a house without knowing where to make the foundation super strong, right?
Definitely not. Makes total sense. One of the sources also mentioned something called the CMMC.
Ah, yes. The Cybersecurity Maturity Model Certification.
Kitschy.
Right. So CMMC, it's essentially like a set of guidelines, cybersecurity best practices.
Ah, okay. To kind of make sure you're covering all your bases.
Yeah. It helps you spot those gaps in your security and then map out how to improve.
So it's like a checklist to systematically boost your defenses. You got it. Systematic. Love that.
So after you've done that risk assessment,
Mm-hmm.
maybe use the CMMC to help you, where do we put the money?
All right. Well, prioritize. Focus on the areas where you're going to get the most bang for your buck.
The biggest impact.
Right. Access controls are a huge one, making sure only the right people can get to that sensitive information.
Makes sense.
And software updates. Got to keep everything current.
Ah, yeah. Outdated software is basically like leaving your front door wide open.
It really is. And then never underestimate the power of good old-fashioned employee training.
Oh, that's so true. Because even if you've got top-of-line tech, someone could still click on a phishing link.
Or use a terrible password. It happens all the time. But here's the good news, right?
Hit me with it.
You don't have to spend a fortune to be secure. Cloud-based security services, open source tools, these can be super cost-effective.
Especially for SMBs, I bet.
Huge for SMBs.
This is good stuff. But it sounds like it's not just about checking off boxes.
No, absolutely not.
Cybersecurity, it's got to be part of the company culture, right?
You nailed it. One of the articles we read, it really stressed that cybersecurity can't be this separate thing.
It's got to be woven into the fabric of the company.
Totally. It's got to be integrated with your overall goals. Get everyone on board from the CEO to the interns.
Make sure everyone understands how important it is.
Exactly. And that your security measures, they actually support how you do business day to day.
Yeah. Makes it less of a burden and more of a strategic advantage.
Exactly. Strategic investment.
Love it. Okay, so now let's get into some of those nuts and bolts budgeting techniques.
Okay, so one expert was a big fan of zero-based budgeting.
Zero-based, starting from scratch each time.
Pretty much. It forces you to justify every single expense. No more just rolling over last year's numbers.
No autopilot. I like that. Makes you really think about each line item.
Exactly. And another technique, rolling budgets.
Rolling budgets. Tell me more.
So they give you flexibility throughout the year. You can adapt, which is super important with cyber threats always changing.
That's smart, because who knows what new vulnerabilities might pop up.
Exactly. So you need that wiggle room to adjust.
Now, what about data? Can we use data to make smarter decisions about our cybersecurity budget?
Oh, absolutely. Real-time budget tracking. Game changer.
Ah, yeah. Seeing where your money's actually going in real time.
Exactly. Financial software can do that for you. And then there's data analytics.
To really see the bigger picture.
Yeah. It can help you predict future costs, allocate your resources better.
So you can be proactive, not just reactive.
Exactly.
Love that.
Yeah.
Anything else data can help us with?
Oh, yeah. Don't forget about automation.
Ah, yes. to make life easier.
Things like budget monitoring, reporting, if you can automate those, it frees up your time.
To do the strategic thinking, not just crunching numbers.
Exactly. Big picture stuff.
Okay, so we've got a handle on the budget process, but how do we decide which cybersecurity projects to actually fund?
Right, because there are tons of options. One source recommended ranking them.
Okay, ranking them based on...
Impact and ROI. Which ones will give you the most bang for your buck.
Makes sense. Focus on the stuff that really matters.
And then it's also about balancing, right?
Balancing.
Your resources between long-term things and your day-to-day operational needs.
You mean like investing in, let's say, new hardware versus training your staff?
Exactly. You got to find that sweet spot. And then, another thing we saw mentioned was flexible financing.
Interesting. So that's like...
It can be really helpful, especially for SMBs, because it can help preserve your cash flow.
So you're not strapped if a big expense pops up.
Exactly.
All right, so we've built our budget. We're done, right? Can put our feet up.
Oh, definitely not.
What else is there?
Cybersecurity, it's not static. The landscape is always changing.
Yeah, new threats all the time.
New technologies. You got to be monitoring your budget, reviewing it regularly.
How regularly are we talking?
At least quarterly, maybe even monthly.
Wow. Okay, so this is a living document, essentially.
It has to be, to stay ahead of the curve.
So being proactive is key here.
Proactive is the name of the game.
All right, as we wrap up here, what's like the one big takeaway you want listeners to remember?
I'd say don't let cybersecurity budgeting overwhelm you. It's doable, especially for SMBs. With good planning, smart investments, and honestly, the right guidance, you can get the protection you need.
You don't have to do it alone, right?
Absolutely not.
There are experts out there who can help you create a plan.
A tailored plan. That will actually work for you.
Yeah. And it's not just about surviving, it's about thriving.
Exactly. Protect your business and keep growing.
So before we go, any final thoughts for our listeners?
Yeah, I'd say think about how you can build a culture of security awareness in your company. When everyone's involved, everyone's paying attention, that's when cybersecurity becomes really powerful.
That's a great point. It's everyone's responsibility, not just IT's. Well, on that note, we'll wrap up for today. Huge thanks to everyone for listening. And remember, the more you know about cybersecurity, the better you can protect your business.
Could agree more. Until next time.